Hey, what's up, 6th grade? So this is the start of Unit 2, and we are doing Lesson 6, Day 1 today. So first, make sure your book is open on page 52. If it's not, pause the video and go get it and get started. Okay, so now let us get started. You are going to be learning in Lesson 6 about what it means in understanding dividing with fractions. So we're not really going to be doing a whole lot of division problems, but we're going to be exploring what it means. All right, so now we're going to start on this page. In this lesson, there's a lot of just following along with me. So I really want you to pay attention, focus, follow the directions, but don't zone out as I'm going over stuff here. Okay, so let's start with this question up here. What does it mean to divide a fraction by a fraction? So it says, you know how to divide a whole number by a unit fraction. For example, you can think of 6 divided by 1/4 as how many 1/4 are there in 6. Using a number line, you can divide 6 into fourths and count to see that there are 24 fourths in 6. So let me explain that. So the division problems. 6, oops, sorry, I have the wrong pen on. Okay, so 6 divided by 1/4 means the question, how many 1/4 are in 6? You want to think of that whenever you're doing these problems. And to answer it, all you have to do is look at a number line. So here are our 6 holes that I'm shading blue. Okay? And if we want to know how many 1/4 there are, well, if we zoom in here, you'll see that each hole is divided into 4 pieces, right? So we just have to count them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So the answer to 6 divided by 1/4 is 24, because there are 24 fourths in 6. Now, down here, I'll continue. It says you also learn that dividing a number by a fraction is the same as multiplying the number by the reciprocal of the fraction. So let's talk about that. So we're saying 6 divided by 1/4 is the same as 6 times 4, okay, or 24. All right, so now we're going to continue down below. Now, this is a similar problem, but it's a little bit different. So this says, Madison cuts a 6-yard length of ribbon into 3/4 yard pieces. To figure out how many pieces Madison cut, think how many 3/4 are in 6. All right, so I'm going to write down that problem again. Remember, we're doing this time instead of doing 6 divided by 1/4, we're doing by 6 divided by 3/4. And remember, that means how many 3/4 are in 6. All right, so we're going to use a number line again, and we're going to show you here. So remember how the same number line, each hole is cut into fourths, right? Well, this time, to figure out 3/4, you have to count 1, 2, 3 of the fourths. So I'm going to circle 3/4. So every 3/4 is 3/4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So when we want to know how many 3/4 yard ribbons can you get out of 6 yards, the answer would be 8 pieces. Okay? So that's all you're doing. You're doing the same thing. You're circling all the 3/4 in 6. Okay, so let's continue on to the next page. Now on this page is where it's going to get a little bit new, so I hope you are ready to go. On this page, we're going to talk about a fraction divided by a fraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to read this problem, and then we will get started. Okay, so it says, Corey wants to pour 3/4 of a quart of juice equally into 6 glasses. This means he needs to divide 3/4 into 6 equal parts. So let's stop there for a second. So Corey has 3/4 quarts of juice, or 3/4 of a quart of juice, and he wants to divide it equally into 6 glasses. So he's taken 3/4 divided by 6. So notice what's different about this one is the fraction comes first and we're dividing it into a whole number of pieces. It's the opposite of what we did on the last page. Now, it says you can represent the problem with an area model. First, you can show 3/4 quart of juice. So let's take a look at this model here. So this whole thing would represent our quart of juice, or a quart container. Now remember, he only has 3/4 of a quart, so only 3/4 of that quart are shaded. All right, so the whole box is a quart, 3/4, the blue part, is the juice. Now, to split it into 6 glasses, what we're going to do is we're going to make vertical lines, and we're just going to split it into 6 sections. And each one of those sections is going to be a glass. Now I'm going to use the book drawing because it's neater. So let's zoom in on that. So as everyone sees, we still have our quart, and the blue section are the 3/4 of a quart. Now we have the vertical lines that represent 6 days. So now how do you get your answer from this bottle? So let me rewrite the problem. We have 3/4 of a quart split into 6 glasses. So the answer is going to be how much of a quart is in each glass. Now, if you look at this, remember, it's how much of a quart, and you also have to remember that this whole rectangle is a quart, right? And let me erase that. What we're going to do is we're going to look at just this red box here. So we're looking at one glass. And how we figure out our answer is this. There are 1, 2, 3 little blue pieces in that one glass that are full, right? Now what's the denominator? Well, the denominator has to be how many of those pieces are there in an entire quart. So in the entire quart, there would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So that means 3 out of 24, or 3/24 of a quart, is in each glass. Okay? Now, by the way, 3/24 reduces to 1/8. So you can say 1/8 of a quart is in each glass as well. All right, so that's what that means. Now, we're going to go down here and we're going to have a reflection problem. So we're going to talk about this for a second. I'm going to give you 2 options. So let's read it first. This says, use the number line to show and explain why 4/10 divided by 2 and 4/10 times 1/2 both equal 2. So let me kind of go back up to this problem. Remember how we said dividing by a fraction. So 3/4 divided by 6 equals 3/24. That's the same thing as if we multiply 3/4 by the reciprocal of 6. And the reciprocal of 6 is 1/6, which is also 3/24. So we want to know why you'll get the same thing. All right, so here are your 2 options. If you're like, I think you want to take on the challenge, use this number line to prove why this problem and this problem both equal 2/10, and then write about what you do. Now, I would like you to try that, but if you're absolutely stumped, you can kind of watch the video, and what I'll do is I'll start by going over the number line, and then you could pause the video and explain if you understand it. All right? But try it on your own first if you think you can get it. All right, so if you're going to try it on your own, pause the video now. If not, well, stick with me here. So number 1 says, use the number line to show why those 2 problems equal 2/10. So I'm going to kind of show you here. So let's start with 4/10 divided by 2. So in other words, we're taking 4/10 and splitting it into 2 groups. think of 4/10 quart of orange juice split into 2 glasses. That's kind of what it means. Now notice here we have a number line 0 to 6. And it actually doesn't even matter that it's 0 to 6. It could be 0 to anything. It could be 0 to, I'll change that 6 to a 1. The key thing is that it's split into 10 pieces. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's split into tenths. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to show 4/10. So let me get my highlighter on here. Okay, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's the 4/10 that I just shaded green. Now, what I need to do is I need to split that 4/10 into 2 groups. So I'm going to do that here. So here are my 2 groups. Okay? Now the question, whenever you're dividing 4/10 into 2 groups, is going to be how many tenths are there in those 2 groups. So there are 2/10, because take a look here. Here's 1/10 and here's 2/10. Out of the whole thing the whole number line has 10/10. So 4/10 divided by 2 is 2/10. Now how is that related to 4/10 times half? Okay, so let's go over that one. Let me erase everything from my number line and we'll show you there. Now when I think of a multiplication problem, 4/10 times 1/2, I always think it means 4/10 of 1/2. So in multiplication, what I need to do first is I need to take half of this number line. Okay, so what I did is I just cut it in half. Now 4/10 of that 1/2 means I need to take that red section and I need to find 4/10 of it. So when I do that, watch what I'm about to do. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here. Now notice the red section is split into fifths. Do you guys see the 5 pieces? What I need to do is split it into tenths. So the question is, what is 4/10 of 1/2? Well, I'm going to circle that. Okay, so notice I have the same thing circled that I did before. If I kind of erase, let me see if I can get this erased here without erasing the black. If I erase everything, what do I have circled? Well, I have 2/10 of the whole number line circled. Okay, so you both end up with 2/10. They're just 2 different ways to do it. So I'm going to try to explain that. So first, now what I want you to do is after seeing me model it, you could pause the video and try to explain it in your own words. All right, or you can go back and try to do it. Don't just copy my words word for word. All right, so pause it and do that now. But now I'm going to do my best to explain it. All right, so first off, 4/10 divided by 2 means I am splitting 4/10 into 2 groups. Which is 2/10. Okay? Now, 4/10 times 1/2 means I am finding 4/10 of 1/2, which is also 2/10. Okay, so that's all I really have to do to explain it when I'm reflecting here. You do not need to have the same answer that I do. All right, so remember, you are done with me, but you can go back and watch anything you need to. And as always, thanks for watching.